general topic of this discussion, Karin said, would be role of photography in today's fragile world. Whatever it means, we are going to discuss about it. What is the role of photography anyway in this world, in this period, and what are the strong and weak points in this profession, not just in profession, but toward the society. So can we start to talk with something that can be maybe semi-philosophical question, but related to what is happening now? Is photography powerful or powerless at all? Who would like to address to that question first? Everybody's nodding, but okay, please. Yes, yes.
Yes, just one or two reflections about that. The photography, I think, was very, very powerful. The people seeing pictures was very fascinated by that because it was new. Only 50 years ago, the photography. It's a young media, very young, and now there is a lot of different things. Photoshop is the basis of this transformation of picture. I think IA is one of the development of this problem. We can, and we, it was, I think in the history of photography, it was a way to transform pictures. It was from the beginning. You could cut it and
Yes,
you can see that.
The power.
Yes. So it was powerful, and we can change it yet. But now I think it will be powerless because the people know that we can change all the things in the photography, and it depends to the education. The visual education is very important. We are late on that in France, I think.
But anyway, we are just talking about
yeah.
power at this moment.
No, so
I tell me. Cool. What would you like to say about it?
I think, so in a discussion about the role of photography in a polarized world, and the first question being, oh, I read polarized somewhere. Honestly, I read polarized somewhere. Well, then my comment doesn't stand, but I do think the question is polarized. You know, it's a black and white question. It's not a multiple choice question. You know, there's a deeper and more complex answer to it. It's probably both powerful and powerless. But I think we should make sure that we ask the right questions as well.
Okay, Stefan, what would you like to say about it?
Powerless or powerful? For me, using this media since 40 years, I assume that this media is going to die very soon. If I figure out how generation in, let's say, 80 years from now think about photography, I think that photography either will be confined as a practice as maybe painting is today, but it will be it will not have the same space and consideration that photography had in the past and even so far, more or less. So my imagination pushed me to say that, yeah, 3 or 4 generations, and photography will not disappear, but will be considered in a different way. Because, very shortly, you have to put yourself in the skin of a person that will born, let's say, in 60 years. What we consider an image, a photograph today, is like the fruit of a passage of knowledge since 1837, when the photography was born. The creation of image, all the consideration around this, the nature of the photography, which is so ambiguous, but still remains something that has a contact with the reality. Means that somebody has to go out and using a sensible material and watching through a pinhole or whatever, take the picture, which is not the reality, which is a section of reality, subjectively speaking. With the AI, this process will end. So the relation with the photography that will change forever, for good. So because you can create an image without moving yourself, without experience the movement. And that for me is critical, and will change the nature of the photography.
Chloe, maybe.
I mean, for me, I definitely feel like photography is both powerful and powerless at the moment, but that it just requires a lot more context when viewing it. Without context, now, when I look at images, I really don't know what I'm looking at. I will question it. Maybe I'm making some assumptions about whether it is a photograph or it's created by AI. But now I know to not just... I mean, I know that I can't know that. So with context, I can still look at imagery and feel that it's powerful when I know that it is a photograph of a specific thing. But I think, yeah, it's basically down to context for me now.
Well, I think we are living tough times and times of changing with the rising of the AI and all those things. But I think photography is still important too in the day that we are living to build the narrative. And in these days that we are living with several inputs of different narratives and fake narratives and all those things, more you can control and disseminate one narrative, and of course depending on the point of view of each one. But I think it's important to build the narrative, and the narrative that support some kind of truth that we live in these days, because there are alternative truths happen all over every time and every minute that we are confronted to that. And still, image still something important to control the narrative and to build and construct some narrative that could be interesting. And there are different points of view, of course, from which one who control what, and in confrontation between the different points of view, the different narratives, then you can understand a bit what is happening. At least we try. Of course, talking about more documentary and about not about artistic projects, but of course, even art. It's also part of politicians, so it's not. But I'm talking more about documentary, about journalism, about things that we are working in these days. And of course, also the journalism and the way it's so disseminated, so polarized, it's so multipolar sources of image, that we need to understand where we position ourselves in this multitude sources of image that coming from the different moments in the different situations.
Okay, then thanks. The thing is, everybody's talking about it for, I don't know, a couple of decades. All the paranoia of public taking shots is growing. So what do you guys think? Shoot first or ask first when you're taking pictures outside? What is important with that one? Please, who would be the first?
Shoot first. Always. Why? Because first of all, you need to know the law, and the law, even when it's very strict, allowed you to shoot. I mean, it's an act, a voluntary act that.
Not about the law. Why do you think personally?
Personally, because I'm a thief.
Okay.
It's the nature. It's the nature of what I've done for many years. Is to. It's a very selfish act, and so then, and also because I discovered that 9 times on 10, the people are not aggressive. They are not. Maybe they are curious, and that will make a bridge. Of course, there are different culture in different country. I live in a country where it's very tough to photograph. But so far, when I teach to the students photography, documentary photography, that now is called street photography. I don't know why, but has changed this. I don't know. But anyway, I always go against what is the common feeling of the young generation. I'm a provocative, but I also try to explain why. Because it's an act of also, how do you say, honestly. It's an act to be honest. You are there for a purpose. Either you are a witness. If you don't shoot, there is no witness. You see, it's simple like that.
Would you like to confront that one, or?
Well, in my work, it's entirely different. So I would obviously never photograph without asking. Exactly, yeah, it's. I think again it depends on the situation. I would probably likely take the photo and then ask, but it would depend on the situation. If it was ever.
How do you justify it and why?
Because if you ask, then the moment is gone, and the thing you wanted to photograph probably isn't there anymore, or it's changed. So if you really do want to capture that, you have to do it before asking. But then in contrast, my own work is, all I focus on is making sure that people are aware of what's going to happen and comfortable. And so it does feel like it goes against how I navigate photography. But yeah, I would also photograph first.
I don't know if I have much to add. I think, yeah, I would also shoot first probably. I mean, I agree with the general idea. Of course, it's about the moment. I mean, this is the beauty of. I was just thinking about it today because I was walking around in my exhibition and I thought, okay, there's photographs and video, right? And the videos, they are somehow connected to a timeline. Yeah, there's the element of time is an important element in video. And then I thought, yeah, the photos are an instant, but it's not true. The photos are timeless. They are like that forever. But you need to grab that instant moment that is important for this image. And if you ask first, it'll be gone. And so that's why I think shoot first. But again, a polarized question, I have to say.
Yes, I think that's not the same. Naturally, we have to shoot first because the eye, for me, the eye see before the brain. It's very. A lot of my pictures are so. But I was confronted to this problem in my residency in Noumea, in New Caledonia. And I've done a lot of pictures, so in the streets, and I had to ask because there was areas a little dangerous there, and I had to ask to the person, please, can I, and so I spoke with them, and it was totally different. The result, totally different, but interesting too. So I choose any picture after the discussion and any picture without discussion or before discussion, and it was interesting. I think so.
Yes, I think it's important to shoot first, but of course it's depending of the nature of the work. If you create a relation, if you create intimacy with the people that you are working, then they allowed you to entry in their world, and then you can photograph without asking. But it's also depending a bit of the nature and the situation of the work. But in fact, it's interesting now the way and the changes that you have now in society and some rules in society that I agree. How to respect the other, how a lot of things that we have to pay attention and see what are the limits from our side and also from the other side. So it's things are changing a lot and very quickly in the last years. I don't think it's going for bad. I think it's going too good, but sometimes also it's a little bit boring, and you sometimes don't have space to do a lot of things that in the 90s or in the 60s there are all the time. But things are changing, and I think it's interesting to live in the society and facing these new rules and these new dynamics that are creating our new society, whatever it is.
Okay, thanks. That opened us with a question of privacy, and publicly everybody wants to know everything about photography is most, let's say, powerful in that way. But what about privacy? I mean, does photographer have a right, or should or shouldn't go actually in the privacy of the lives to cover whatever he means that is important to cover, like in ordinary life? What do you mean, Stefano? I mean, you're nodding. I don't know if you understood the question right.
If we as a photographer allowed ourselves to cross the line and get inside the privacy of a person, of course, but it depends how. I mean, specifically, the question of the privacy, it's more depending about the relation that you build with the subject, right? And that can be a portrait, but that can be also a storytelling of a human being facing some. So that means that, how you said, from the starting point, you set up a relation of trust with the person. So this person indeed allowed you to get inside their privacy, because otherwise you won't be able, even if you force, you won't be able to get in the privacy of a person. You will be facing a sort of wall, expression of the face, body language, and that's automatically kill the emotion of the work. So it's a question that solves itself for me.
Okay, go more into it.
Yeah.
Sorry, was this should a photographer step inside the privacy of someone else? Yeah, I guess my work is very much about the privacy of other people, in a way. So my work is all, it's nudes, but they're all anonymous. So in a way, people have been much more open to being in my photographs than if you could actually identify who they were. So, you know, they're completely naked, but also the images are desexualized. It's just from the back. So you could argue that it's a very, very private moment that I'm photographing, but then also they're anonymous and like I said, desexualized. You can't tell who they are. It's sort of through the photographs. It's actually like we've created a separate sculpture, a separate thing. So also in a way, it's completely separate from who they are. But the moment itself, when we're on the photo shoot, it does feel very private and intimate. But I only ever get to that through getting to know the person and making sure that that the situation is very clear and understood. I've almost lost my train of thought of what the question was itself. I think in certain situations, yes, but then I would always, after the fact, make sure that that it was okay to have taken that photograph. Or if there was a bigger situation in which it was so important to have that photograph that maybe in that circumstance it felt justified. Yeah. Sorry? Absolutely. There's so much, there's so many different things that impact that answer, I think.
We're losing our grip as photographers with so many rules now applying to our job, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, especially maybe people who work with
photojournalism. So many rules are going over more and more and more.
But maybe it's not so much about rules only, but also about ethics. I subscribe very much to a school of thought that's very present in visual anthropology, and that is that the subject that you are, actually they're often called interlocutors, the interlocutor that you are photographing is a co-owner of the photograph and can retract its permission at any given moment, which is a very complicated stand to take and not very practical. But in reality, it does offer a more open space of dialogue with your subject, and sometimes it offers you a greater sense of intimacy because you have this trust. And then later, both parties understand that the photo was taken, exists, and will need to live on. So, I taught at a master program for visual anthropology for a while, and it never happened that people retracted their permission. But this is a standard in anthropology. It's very common. You're co-owner, Yeah, but why do we need power? I don't need power. Yeah, I don't think they are exclusive. I think they can go hand in hand. I think, but again, it depends on the context, of course, But if there's an understanding with your subject, and you create the work that you want to create, then you don't lose anything. I think you only win.
Yes, but let's say situation right now, you will be jailed automatically if you're shooting children playing in the park. Or children playing in
Yeah, there are countries where that's the case. There.
So, what do you think about it?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. I don't know. Is it relevant what I think about it? Yeah, it's a difficult question. Of course. Yeah.
It's difficult because we speak mostly from the documentary photography, and for artists it's a little. But the question I have in head is when you take a privacy photography with or without the allowed to be allowed. When you change it, you make another thing on the photography, on the picture, and it could be a real problem too, but it's a problem in front of the reality, the trust, and so, and I don't know. We have to reflect this kind of problem too. When I change a photo, I give you an example. I did a lot of photos. A man after this operation, he was transgender. He was changing his genre, his sex too, yeah. And he had breast yeah, breast operation, but not the other one. And I have a lot of photos of him. He was very of her. She was very proud of it, and so, and we had to change a little. We discussed it together, because I couldn't change anything on these photos, this picture, without his consent. It was for me. It was normal. No, it was an example.
What would you like to say?
Well, as I said, we're living different times, so we have to also face the different rules that we have, social rules. In same time, there's overexposed and people create photos about themselves and living through Facebook, Instagram, and they are all their life are online. But in the same time, they want privacy. So it's a paradox, and what they create about themselves and how they exhibit themselves and how they expose themselves. But in the other hand, they don't want to be exposed by the others. And so this is something that is really strange. Sometimes it's even a statement, don't be in the social media, don't have any presence, don't share your things in the social media. And explain to the others, not talking about photography, but talking about family, please don't photograph my son, don't put it in the social media, because I want to protect his privacy, and I totally understand this. So these are different moments of creating and sharing image that we have. But I think it's interesting in the same time how to respect and how to play with the others, and talking about transgenders, LGBT, also racism, a lot of things that are the Western white man straight creates. Me, I'm this, and even married. I discovered yesterday that I'm married for 35 years, whatever. A long conversation, well, it's not the case. But how can we, in this position that we have as controller and producers of image, because the photographers are mainly men in the old times. Now we have more women taking photography, that it's good, but in the old times there are a lot of men. How can we share, how can we invade the other space? And what are, I think in the old times you think that you have the rule, have the right to do and to produce and grab all the image about the other people that are there in the other side of the lens. And now have to be more aware and how to share and how to have a as you said, a co-author of the image, the rights to be the ones that are photographing. I think this is an interesting game that you can play, and the rights of each identity that now for the new generations are very they are very aware of this, and I think this is interesting. This how to play this game and how to understand this game, and I think it's an interesting change in our society.
Okay, do you familiar everybody here with the name Arne Svensson? Maybe, no. Shortly, that was one very interesting photographic case. He is a well-known, good established American, New York, I think, photographer. It's a more different story. It's, he was taking pictures. He lives in one very big building, and across his building, completely the same building. And he figured it out, nice-looking windows, big windows, and he started to shoot his neighbors through the window. And he was doing that, I forgot how long, but some longer period of time. And after a while, he decided there are great photos, and he opened the exhibition somewhere in New York. Exhibition was very successful, and all of a sudden, of course, lawsuits against him. Big ones. Of course, he was going through the windows to the people's life, and big lawsuit was very, very interesting. It was lasting for a long time. It was all over the media. And what do you think? What happened? What was the verdict of the court? He won. Actually, he won because the court decided that the artistic value of the picture is bigger than how he addressed the personal life in those situations. So, very tricky situation. That's why I want to ask everybody here again, maybe everybody to enjoy this conversation from the public as well. Is self-censorship dangerous for photography at all? What do you think? I mean, since self-censorship, we are going deeper and deeper in political correctness and everything, and we are trying to be, let's say, good or normal people or whatever. But that self-censorship, does it affect photography world? Does anybody want to ask, to answer this one?
Yeah, I think self-censorship affect our daily lives. There are a lot of things that...
concrete photography.
Yes, well, of course, it's a fact, depending of how you produce, how you interact. But I think it's a question of trust. If you establish a relation, if you create a relation, a trust relation with the one that we will photograph.
Does it affect photography, not us as a persons, but photography itself? What can we see now through the photography if photographers are in a state of self-censorship? What the world can see.
You're still seeing fantastic image. I don't think the photography world is poor than 30 years ago. You still have fantastic works developed. So I don't think it's a fact. It's change. Yeah. Well, documentary and artistic, of course. Artistic is a different role. So it's Chloe cannot photograph the guys without knowing that they have to be nude. So it's impossible. But it's a fact a bit. But you still can produce and can interact with society through the lens, knowing the different reaction and the different rules that you have.
Do you think that now we have some kind of gaps in what is visualized and what is not?
Not sure. Maybe you can have official gaps, but then if you're just looking a bit, they are all there, all the image. Even if they are not official, they are all around the...
Stefano, what do you think? Censorship?
Too many answers to this question, honestly. But if you are talking about documentary photography, I think the censorship is everywhere. Before the self-censorship. Outside, there is a huge amount of censorship. So the documentary photography is not documenting anymore because it's communicating what the people that give the censorship wants to be communicated. If you put on a personal level the way how a photographer can express herself or himself, the self-censorship is, for me, it's a minus in the practice of photography, like in the practice of artists, because an artist, and why art is so scaring for the people in power, art has no filter. Art talks to you and grab your stomach without going in a different direction. So if you are art creator and you censorship yourself, you just make your expression weaker and filtered. That's my.
Would you like to confront or to confirm?
Confront or confirm? Sunny side up. I'm guilty of self-censorship, for sure. But I think that in the history of photography, it was always there. I don't think it's getting worse. I think maybe in, let's say, Victorian times, the self-censorship was different. You know, what can we photograph? Who can we photograph? How much flesh can we see? You know, those kind of things. Right now, like if I refer to the project about my father, like I said in my talk, my father was open to anything, but I definitely chose not to photograph him in specific situations, you know, for his dignity and also for the relationship with my brothers. And so yeah, I think it's almost a kind of a natural thing to always be thinking about that. And I don't want to think that, you know, photography needs to be all powerful and that we somehow are owned everything. You know, I think we have to earn it and or negotiate it.
Can I just sorry for it's how you said I disagree for one reason, because and I understand totally. It's very intimate, it's your father, but you shouldn't be scared because the dignity is in the way how you see your father, you see. So it's not practicing the censorship that you, if you are a digne person, I don't know how to say it, if you are, it's the way how you watch the people, it's the way, that's, so it preserves you to be in the bad way. Because photography is very true. I mean, it's a mirror of what you are. So if you are a digne person, I think it's like that.
Sorry, it doesn't have to be about me, but I because I, you know, pretty much followed every step of his life, I considered photographing him while he was taking a shower, and I decided against it. And I thought about it several times, and I just decided against, and it was a gut feeling. No, and it exactly, but it was one, you know, moment in his life that he had every day. Yeah, okay, so but for me it's a form of self-censorship, you know. Maybe not, maybe disrespect. Thanks for saying that.
What do you think about it?
Very good points. I guess also to add that if people are self-censoring in a way that is coming from an aim of preserving people's privacy or human rights, then I do think that also, you know, if that's happening more now, I think that that can also be a positive. And although it's photography and especially photo documentary is very important in showing what's happening in the world, but then also not taking advantage of people in certain situations is also really important too.
Natalie?
Yeah.
I just want to add a drop on it. Does you ever feel that you're exploiting somebody else's life while you're shooting?
No, I never had this feeling. But I
try.
no, I think I have not a lot of self-censorship. The censorship is out of me. The censorship is in the how the people judge the picture. When you are a woman and when you are artist, your way to express you is not exactly the same of other people, but it's not the same with the men. And you have a censorship here in the way they look at your work in the beginning. And your self-censorship is not very useful because you have a lot of censorship. And then when you progress, when you see what you have to do to pass between the you are always so you can go very stronger because you are a warrior. you don't need to think a lot about what am I doing. You do that. You feel what you have to do. It's my feeling.
Thanks. As a photographers, we are always, aiming something, and we are always, very often, in the middle of something which is active. But should photographers be just witnesses of the events and the world around us, or we should be actively contributing to the pushing something forward, or to contribute anyhow to the events that are around us? So that was the question. Generally, we are just witnessing, and we are just gray, invisible. Most of us like that acts in a way, but are we sometimes can be machines of doing something with that one further, much, let's say, faster than stuff is actually happening? What would you like to say? Whatever, we are just witnessing stuff. But should we, through photography, push stuff to roll a little bit faster, to be not just witness of a change, but to support or to push change forward as a photographers? What is our role in that one?
Well, I think you are describing the attitude of an activist when you say doing something. And in one sense, I feel that what we do is shaking the consciousness with, I hope, a right side on things. Each one here at his own way, but we interrogate the reality, and we give a proposal of interpretation to the people. That means that we are already proactive to do something, and it's our way to exist in this world. If I, as a documentary photographer, make a step as an activist, I felt that I lose something in credibility. Because
being an activist,
no, I think an artist is a person who open little interstices in the reality, open very little things. We work about little things, and we are activists. Yeah, we are engaged it better. But we don't have to change the world only with our work. It's not possible. I know that. Even I know that. But we can change the way the people look at the other one. For example, the Roma people. I know it was important for them and for the people who see that to make a bridge. This problem of the bridge is a very good thing.
I think once you decide to photograph in one way or the other way, in one point of view, in one part of the barricade, or in the other way, or in the other side, you immediately take part of the narrative and you choose a role and you choose a side. When you photograph your homes in Bordeaux, you are not photographing the rich people that living in near the cathedral. So your work is absolutely political, no doubt. You don't need to do it in your face, but it's there. When you photograph the blind people, it's a statement. So it's clearly a position, and you can do it more subtly or more subtle, not so. But it's a position that clearly put us in the when you photograph Gaza from Gaza and not from the side of Israel, or if you are in the Ukraine or in the Ukraine side or in the Russian side, you have immediately a position for difference, and so all the work that to all our work, it's have a political position. These being impartial and photographing one side and the same person photographing also the other side, I don't believe now in the times that we are living that is possible, because especially in the conflicts moments that we have, all the state machines, the different state machines, control the narrative, and so you have to choose a bit where you are in what part of the narrative that you are talking about, documentary, about conflicts, but also the social part is important. So it's depending. Stefan is not photographing any war, but he has a statement about how disability, how blind people, they can live in the world. So it's, I think it's we can have a statement. No, Chloe can talk.
Yeah, I don't know how much more there is to add. Coming from a place as being a photographic artist, I think artists are very much always pushing their own agenda or just including their own viewpoint. I think it's maybe impossible not to, or very hard not to. And I also think it's important as well. I mean, lots of people make work about things that they're trying to share because they want to make a positive impact, because of trying to raise awareness of things, or just trying to enable people to look at a topic in a new light. Yeah, I think it's very important to be able to show your own personal opinion through your work.
I think really well said. Yeah, there's not much more to say, I think.
Microphone is there, but anyway.
So, just to conclude this, maybe an artist is more an idealist than an activist. That's I would feel more comfortable in saying that.
Worst.
Okay. Time is flying. I mean, I want to address to the audience, if somebody else want to ask something or jump into discussion, it's more than welcome. We are already 1 hour talking here. But this question, let's try to answer shortly. Should photographer be emotionally connected to the subject that is shooting or not? Is it like a doctor? They say if doctor is emotionally connected, he cannot work well. So what is your opinion about it? Should it be emotionally connected to the subject? I mean, not just subject, but topic and subject, or disconnected? Nuno, what do you say?
I said that the machine protects us. We are behind the machine. And sometimes it's more easier to be behind the machine. But of course you have to be involved. Well, if you see somebody suffer violence and you are just photographing, then you are a rock without emotion. So it's, of course, it's always involve yourself. Being part of the process and entering in the process and intervening in the process itself, then you take a partial position. So it's you are not so impartial. So you are part of the process. So it's in documentary thinking. It's remove your part of your position, but I think we are not rocks, and we have to understand and play with this what we are photographing, depending of what happened in front of you.
I think, for my part, when I shoot, I'm not in an emotional relationship. When I shoot, I am behind the camera, and I am like anybody else. Just a little moment for the shoot, and then I can take part to the thing. It's like a dédoublement. I don't know this word. Like if I was double, one to shoot is the other one to be with the person, and it's yeah, it's my yeah, I think it.
I'm still thinking.
Isn't it's turning into like a campfire game? Like who has the mic? Right? I was going to say emotional connection, very much for me at least, is connected to this idea of being an idealist. And I mean, and of course I don't have to talk about the emotional connection I have with the project about my father, but you know, all of the work until I did that project for me it was either socially engaged or really straightforward human rights work all over the world, and I feel it's also often the type of work that, you know, there's such a high degree of idealism there, and sometimes so little money. You have to have an emotional connection to actually to keep going and to really make the most of it. So for me, it's almost a requirement sometimes to be emotionally connected. I was waving around with my book earlier. And I didn't talk about it a lot, but it's called Why I Cry on Airplanes. And it comes from this the title comes from this exact question actually, is that, you know, I don't know, I filmed for 14 months with a homeless girl in Nicaragua who had a baby and raised the baby on the street under a tree. And every time I flew home, that's where my tears came, not when I was working. The emotional connection was there, but my expression of it came a lot later. So I found myself crying in the airplane quite a bit. And that's where the title of the book came from. But yeah, for me it's very important. Yeah, I understand different practices require different dynamics, but for me it's very important.
Well, I do think there is something in human nature where if you're in a difficult moment, you just emotionally shut down to deal with it. So that completely makes sense to me. And I mean, yeah, personally, I feel very emotionally connected to my work. But there is also a pragmatism in when you're creating it that maybe doesn't necessarily feel emotional in the moment, but still is coming from that. And then you sort of touch in with that again throughout the process of creating work. I mean, I feel like this is another question where there are so many situations in which it's useful and good, and then also other situations in where if you're trying to create work that is impartial, that obviously then it's better to not be emotionally connected. But that again, you could list many situations and not really answer the question fully.
Yeah, I mean, distinction must be made because otherwise, but in general, you do this work because you are an emotional person with the emotion in the skin, really, on the surface of your skin. Then, if you are talking about a specific practice of photojournalism, then the question is a little bit more complicated for me because you need to find the right distance and being empathic but not proactive, which is very difficult to find and which is a constant challenge even after 20 years or 30 years of work. So, but in this right distance, there is a component of emotion, because otherwise nothing will come, nothing will be sent out by the picture.
But adding something to this, and you talk about we are doing work. If we are too emotional during the work, and if we let the emotion blind you in the work, then you don't have the work done that it's showing what is happening in front of you. So you have to create, and then when you go to the plane, you cry. Like a baby, but you need to create this difference because it's this distance, because unless you don't have the work done. And I work in the prison with young guys a long time ago. In this time we can photograph them, the faces, so they are fantastic. They are really beautiful, the kids that are in prison. But it's when we worked there, they explained me, because I was very young, that you have to create a distance between you, your work that you are doing there, and the work and the life of the kids, because they die, they prostitute themselves, and if you don't create this difference and this distance between the time that you are there and the time that the things happen outside, you are not able to, in the next day, working with them properly and help them. So you have to create this, okay, now it's ends, now I have another life, and so have to create this difference. But talking about another thing that about how we produce image, I have photographed a lot of shows and theater and stage photography, and very often, well, not very often, but sometimes we photograph things, shows with a fantastic light. But the show itself is not good. And I remember the public, they said, oh, I don't like it. And I talked with my colleagues that are photographing, but the light was fantastic, really. And the light, how it was the show? Oh, the light was really very good pictures. But there's nothing, but the quality of the image is really good. So it's the emotion, it's behind the camera. We're just taking the shot.
Okay, thanks. Jump in, guys, if you want. Stefano, you said that it was a very good sentence that now we are facing changing of nature of photography? It's a very important question. We're obviously seeing that photography becoming more and more individual mean of communication and everything. But what is shortly the role of professional photography right now in the phase where when the nature of photography is changing? What is the role of professional photography today? Is there an answer to that one? Everybody's like, okay.
I think in photography we lost a long time ago with digital. We lost this kind of waiting the picture and so, and can reflect. It's not for reportage, but the reflection about the picture and the choice and so. It's all is very faster, and we have to. I think we have to do anything to put time in our work, to let this photo a little moment there and to come back to that. It's not possible when we were in a reportage in I don't know what, but mostly we can do that because even when we are in a documentary work, we can let a little more time to the picture come, like when we do analogic picture. It comes. It can be with digital too, but we have to come back a lot of times on it. Well, I think it's a way to not to go too fast, too quick. I took one. I put it on Facebook and I don't know.
To ferment, but definitely.
Pardon.
Your question was, what is the role of professional photography today? Can we see it as a photographer? Can we see it as a photographer?
Honestly, I never. I mean,
Can you see that?
what is a photographer today?
What would be the role?
The role in society, you mean? Because photography, again, it's very difficult to define in one task. I mean, we all are photographers here, but we all have a very different practice due to our different nature, but also our different study. So I think basically a professional photographer should be someone that is literate about photography. So it means that know, think, and develop a reflection about what is doing and why doing like that.
Should be aware of the effect of his pictures to the public.
Yeah, but that's
First.
yeah, that's I mean that is almost, I would say, the base. But being conscious about the powerful of the media that you are using, it's just I mean that makes a difference between somebody who is taking picture and I don't want to discriminate anyone, because I'm very happy somehow that there is a sort of a horizontal knowledge of photography. Before was very much vertical. Now more and more there is this practice, but at the same times I must avoid that this horizontal goes with a certain illiteration of photography. There is less and less a thinking about the media, how to use it, why in this way, and what you want to communicate. But once that you have this notion integrated in your practice, then you are a professional photographer. for me.
I think also a big part of the role is, and always has been, to communicate, and whether that's communicating ideas or news, what's happening in the world. And I think now the extra burden that comes with still needing to communicate is to provide the context around what your images are, around what your image is, because now things are just so muddied when it comes to imagery. So I think it's I think it's still about communicating, but you just have. But now in the current way that the world is and the way that images work, you just have to be so much more clear with your context.
I don't even know if I am a photographer. Okay. Well, you know, I'm with Stefano. I think it's about literacy, and yeah, it's a label, right? Professional, not professional. Some people think you're professional when you make money with it, but this for me is totally irrelevant in a sense. I mean, making money is not irrelevant, but this distinction is not, it doesn't count. But I do think that once you have a certain kind of consciousness about your own practice and you understand what the effects are and you know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and you are also able to somehow strategize your project or whatever message or image it is that you want to put out, you know, that is the role of a professional photographer, to go through all that process and to take it serious. Yeah, that's where I would leave it. I think we're all saying the same, but with different words.
I think it's a question of the role. It's to tell a story. So storytelling, create a narrative, and build this narrative in the very in the good way, and sharing with the public. But it's what we do. We don't just take one good pictures is one thing, but build a narrative build a story about the thing that we are photographing. This creates a role of photographer, I think, and I think it's important to keep this role.
Okay, and let's now go, I mean, we are already more than 1 hour talking, to jump completely different topic and to ask shortly, what do you think about photography critics today? Does it exist or not? Is it somehow provocative or not? Is it just every photographer knows some kind of art historian and he will write something nice about his work or something like that? Is that developed at all? And do we lack something like that, like we say, very developed film critics, we see well developed general art critics and everything? Does photography has at all developed critics or not? What do you think, Nuno?
I think this is related with the.
Do we need it?
I think we need it, no doubt. To me, there's no doubt that we need it. But in case in Portugal, we don't have a lot of critics. But this is related with the crisis of media and the press and all this. So the critics, it's a role that are disappearing, except for the cinema and mainly for cinema and for some theater. But in image, in photography, in Portugal, it's very, very, very weak. I can tell you that. Oh, okay. Yeah, but this is. But you don't have. But I think this is related with the whole crisis of press. There are other countries like UK or France or I don't know about Belgium, but where you have critics that are have this role, do it professionally. But I think it's something that is good to have, but it has to be well supported and well supported in the theoretical and I think this could be interesting, but unfortunately in Portugal there's not a lot.
we don't have to forget that it's a business too, the photography. So the critics in the media can be tainted by critic only the photographer who we are able to be sold, and so I don't know. I never meet one.
I did. They exist. No, but in general, if you are thinking, people that write regularly on photography, present in the magazines or cultural magazines, they do not cover only photography. So they are not. They are maybe they cover photography, painting, and art in general, which is good somehow because it gives a perspective and avoid to be a little church of power, and has a more free side. And I think critics again for the speech, the thing that I was saying before, the thoughts of before, improve literacy. So yeah.
It depends if it's good or not.
We lack. I think we lack. You know, photography is a language. So more you know about this media, even theoretically, the more you are able to. It's like if of a language, I don't know, 500 500 words of English. If I could use 2,000, I would speak certainly better than that, and I could also, I don't know, think better in English. Photography is the same. So more you know about the history of the media, the use of the media, even technically, everything. And more you know, and more and better you can use this media. So it's the same for the critics. More you know, and more you can improve the debate and the stimulation around work.
Yeah, I also think it's very important. Yeah. And I think to hear about, to read or hear or however you're consuming this, but to get information about photography, not just from the person who's made it, is really important. Because I think you can only really look at it critically when you aren't the maker. And then, like you say, then you really can start to improve literacy in it. Anything more to add?
I have nothing to add about this. Really, I don't. I've never made the kind of work that a critic would get out of bed for. My work has never been criticized, not good or bad, in a newspaper or review. So, and actually, that's a position of privilege, I think. So.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mostly, the journalist ask your picture, your text, and they mix that and not good.
Use it. So we are like ending this conversation, I think. So I would like to address the audience if somebody else wants to ask something from anybody here, or to drop a short topic that we would like to discuss, or we should wrap it out. Okay.
I was wondering what the role of the media now is, because they have to sell their newspapers, and the topics that they bring are the topics often that can sell and are not always neutral stories that should be told. More they tell stories that sell, that are driving people mad, or giving them fear or whatever. Is there something we can do about that. So can we push media not to be so on the money, to be on the, is there a possibility? Maybe that's an idealistic question, but I think there's a problem. Maybe 50, 60 years ago, there were a lot of objective stories. Media weren't so on their money. So maybe?
I would like to answer a bit of that question, because during my career of photojournalism, I saw that development, that media become yellowish and sensationalistic, and it's happening everywhere. There is no difference. I mean, and it's unbackable story, I think, completely. There is no way that those who have money and want more to, push them to do like socially, let's say, useful job for the public. There is just a couple of media that exists, let's say, in that normal way, but 98% of the media completely started to be infotainment media, not real. Yes, so charging of the money, it's now another game. It was completely different, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years ago, but now it can be rolled back, I think. The only platforms that we as the photographers got are festivals like this, sites, internet is a possibility, of course, big one. Maybe we are lazy to organize some kind of bigger networks to support, let's say, visibility of activist work, let's say, and good coverage from news and media. Maybe we are a little bit lazy, because I don't think that everybody apart from us will do that. But anyway, that's my thinking. Nuno, what do you think about it?
I think it's not our job to organize big platforms, because unless we cannot produce the content, so I think it's what the big media organize, that they have a business and they organize the business part and the support, and also have the contents producing. The people who produce content to the media. But I think the main question, it's there's a big movement about the change of the media dynamics, and the press and the big media, they are also looking how to survive. So it's a big change that we are living in society. So, and it's quite it's a big movement that I think it's beyond my understanding. But in the same time, it's interesting, so the social media also allowed you to produce and to share image and contents, of course, in your bubble, in the different bubbles, but it's produced, you can create different events, and you can share different contents in the social media, the different social media that you have. Of course, they also take advantage of this, so it's the big sharks also taking this. But I think it's interesting, how can we play and we develop and we share the ideas through the medias and alternative medias. Because at least in Portugal, the main medias that you have like 4 newspapers and 3 televisions channels. Of course, have the cable, but it's and they repeat all the same things, so you have all the same information in the same thing, and it's useless to try to have information about things more alternatives or in the like this festival. They will never take this there. And we found ways to have and to share our information through the bubble, our bubble. So we have a lot of people that go in there, not through the media, through the main media. So we have to look for, with new generation that work better in social media than me, because I'm not like her, but I'm also analog. So we are in the same. So it's but we have to learn how to to serve the new. How, talking about public, you have to ask for the young public that how they developed, because you have to look for the young generation, how they communicate, because they communicate a lot, and they go everywhere. They see it in a different way. They bring different ideas. They have they're sharing. Well, they have to learn with us, and we have to learn with them. And it's so I think it's part. I think it's interesting to be open and to understand how to work with the new generation, because, of course, being all of us from the similar generation. We miss here the young generation, and they are the future, and we have to learn. Well, you are there, perfect. But we need more young people. The last opening that we have in our space in Lisbon, it was full of young people that I don't know, no one of them, and they are there. They communicate between them, the artists and the things, between the social media, Instagram, and so. And none of the old guys, photographers, are there, just two professors. But it's full, it was fantastic, the quality of work was good, but I don't know no one of them, and certainly they are not from my generation, not either from the generation of my sons. So they are younger, but they are powerful, and it works very well, so it's, I still believe in the future.
I think this work of the journalist to mix all the things and to communicate about it, it's very well done by the IA. I was checking my name on the ChatGPT and I don't know what, and it was perfect. A perfect text, very. With all the articles, all what I do, it was true, and it very well done. But the journalists, what they have to do now, they have to critique, because to check, but they don't. So no, it was just a reflection about.
Do you want to say something? I forgot what the question was, but I did want to make a point about, or just an observation about the role of photography in fragile times. But it's a different subject. I mean, it's a different question. What was your question, Karin? Ah. I think if you have a festival that is focused on documentary, reportage, news, you have a responsibility there. But photography is so much more, and so many festivals. I mean, we were talking the other day about Breda, for instance, and I mean, Breda is very much also, there's a lot of artistic photography as well, where objectivity or subjectivity is totally muddled, and so I think it's a difficult responsibility to take on. I do think that was a responsibility. Someone should take the responsibility for it. That's for sure. But yeah, I think it's yeah, and it's a big topic. Yeah, to bring to Barcelona. Yeah.
If you think of the different identity of maybe 20 or 30 festivals that I don't know how many you will met in Barcelona. And if you think about how a magazine or a newspaper, that is a sign that we were too long, is done. I mean, in a newspaper you can find all kind of information, art, economy, and same in the festival. The festival has different topic, different identity. So it's like if you were imagine to shape a huge newspaper as festivals. In general, I think due to the situation of the press around the world, it's time that each of us take their own responsibility to do something, because otherwise the people that are, because the news now definitely become how do you say, due to stuff to sell, right? Yeah. So when you sell something, you advertise. Otherwise, they are going to buy other things. So it's not anymore an information; it's a communication. We need to be very clear in mind that what has been the task of the press, and which should be, because it's one pillar of a democracy, is not anymore. So if we don't do singularly, each of us, something to try to find a way to inform the people, and this could be a way. Everybody, yeah. Why not? I would say, why not? Because each good idea to keep alive a sort of information is against manipulation. It's good, and because about what you said, we are living in a sort of etymologic bubble. Means that I talk with the people that I know, that understand my speech and like my speech, and the other people. But the problem is that we are not able anymore to make a bridge with the people that think in the opposite way. So there is no discussion. And this topic, yeah. But in the end, we arrived to the yeah, and that's, for me, is the main question for who practice art, photo, and how you, because to convince people that are already convinced, well, I'm not saying that it's not easy, but arrive to touch people that think in a different way, that is fucking hard.
But I know that, this festival would never be here if I did not convince the town board with Photoshop pictures on the wall, that they could see already what it was going to look like before even anything was there.
Yeah.
So pictures was different.
I would end on this very nice sentence, unless that you want to add something.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Svesta, Nuno, Natalie.